our comrade anthem.
Yes! If I die in the battlefield,
Tell my mom I did my best.
tell my mom I did my best.
If I die in the battlefield,
If I die in the battlefield,
tell my mom I did my best.
tell my mom I did my best.
If I die in the battlefield,
If I die in the battlefield,
tell my mom I did my best.
tell my mom I did my best.
Comrades,
Yes!
the police touched our feet.
Yes!
We kept quiet.
Yes!
To our head,
Yes!
we kept quiet.
Yes!
They've now touched our bones.
Comrades power! Power! Comrades fever! Viva! Viva Comrades fever! Viva! Viva Comrades fever! Viva!
Comrades power!
Power!
As Mr. SG has stated it,
Yes!
comrades from Jkuat are suffering.
Yes!
They are being stabbed by the locals.
Yes!
They are being stabbed by quacks.
Yes!
And when the police are called upon,
Yes!
they come and beat up comrades. Comrades power!
Power!
We cannot allow.
We cannot allow!
And we want to tell the members of the public who are looking at us,
Yes!
that tomorrow it's my brother.
Yes!
Tomorrow it will be your son. Comrades power.
Power!
Comrades Ria.
Ria.
Comrades Za.
Sa! Bedroom.
Sisi tumeingia bedroom.
Comrades Ria.
Yeah.
The public, you can join us because tomorrow it's going to be your son.
Yes.
We are calling upon the public. We are calling upon the
Spokesman.
Yes, we know you.
We have a lot of respect for students because we were once students.
Yes.
And you are the persons that this country depend on to make our country even better in future. So I expect the best out of you. But first of all, what I would want to say is that we don't support what happened yesterday. We have a constitutional mandate as police to protect individual lives. It is not our mandate to harm anyone. And for that reason, first of all, we want to thank that particular person who took his time to take this clip, because if this clip was not taken, we would have not had the basis of getting to know who did what. We would be having somebody in pain, and we don't know exactly who undertook it. So we want to thank very much the person who took the clip and forwarded it to us. I also want, on behalf of the Inspector General, to thank one student who called the Inspector General yesterday on real time. There's one lady student who called the Inspector General, and the Inspector General was able to send a team. Now, this morning, the Inspector General has sent the Director in charge of Internal Affairs, and he's already at Jkuat. Maybe those who are there have seen him. But the 4 officers have been identified. They had their riot caps covering their faces.
Yes.
But we have managed to successfully identify them. They have been interdicted this afternoon. And we have to go through the normal legal process to have them processed. We take internal disciplinaries, and also the Internal Affairs Unit will give us recommendations, because, you know, this person was assaulted, isn't it? And if you assault anybody, then we have to take appropriate actions. So I'm seeing a situation where I do not want to preempt what the Internal Affairs is going to do, because it is their duty. But most likely the officers will have to face the full force of the law, and most likely lose the job, because that is not why they were employed. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you. But what I would want you to ask you is to exercise a lot of responsibility in what you do. 2 mistakes don't make a right. If you've been offended, it does not mean that you go offending other people. I'm happy you have walked here peacefully. You have not thrown stone at anybody's car. You have not harassed anybody. And that is the maturity that we want. If you have an issue, you express the issues that we have. And on top of it, the issues of insecurity within the university and around the university, the Inspector General is going to come personally to the university and talk to the students. And we would also want your cooperation to assist us, because it is through you that we can get to know how the insecurity is taking place. Because we don't live with you there. You are able to tell us that this is what is happening and these are the people we think are causing insecurity within the campus or around the university, so that we can be able to help you. Otherwise, thank you so much for your support, and we are just assuring you that we are taking all the legal processes on the officers who carried out this.
Clear the air, please.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Owino, we want to thank you very much for showing up to talk to us.
Yes.
And we want to express ourselves clearly, even before we give our petition,
Yes.
that Mr. Owino, we want the names of those officers to be published, because there's a possibility that we might be told they are going to be indicted while it's not
No, they have
true.
already been interdicted. Not that they will be.
Now we request their names to be published. Number two, we have to put on record that we as leaders of Jomo Kenyatta University students have met Juja Sub-County Security Committee severally with empty promises. Instead of guarding us and patrolling around Juja, they go arresting our students and taking bribes from them, even when they are drinking peacefully or when they are playing in PlayStations.
1680.
Now we want to say, when everyone is seeing that we as students are not only mad at the community around Juja, we're even mad at the police who are sleeping on their jobs, and even the community who are attacking us in collaboration with the police. Yesterday, if you saw clips, they were working hand in hand, the police and the thugs.
Yeah, they were inside them.
So we are not happy with the forces, we are not happy with the community around Juja, and if nothing is done, we as students are not going to resume our duties until the police come in, not just through words, but through actions.
Second, we want you to graduate and leave college.
Exactly.
So you will. Well, I've assured you that we are going to take necessary action. It's not empty promise. We don't have a purpose. You are all our children. None of you is half of our ages. You are all our children. Our children are learning with you. We take responsibility. And in police, one good thing, we are not like military. We don't take collective responsibility. Here you take individual responsibility. If you commit an offense, you commit it as an individual and you take responsibility as an individual, because what we undertake is a social responsibility, and therefore those officers are taking responsibility, and I think by tomorrow you will get a further report of the next course of action. Yes. But as at now they are not working, they have been interdicted, and we are taking further steps. It's only that we cannot jump and say we are taking you to court. We have to record statement of the accused, the complainant. We have to take the statements of witnesses. We have to act in procedure. Otherwise, if we don't act in procedure and we end up taking you to court, we will lose the case at the end of the day.
But our main concern is insecurity issues. Not the police brutality came as a result of insecurity in the area.
It's okay. We have agreed, and you will see appropriate action taken. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And it's not only Jkuat.
Yes.
It's all the universities in Kenya. They are facing that challenge. And at the moment we rise up, the police...
The question, our officers are very open. If you're not getting any support from the ground, the student leaders organize yourselves, come and see us, so that you can blame us tomorrow. But if there are problems on the ground and the student leaders are just sitting waiting to demonstrate, it's not appropriate. If you have a problem, come to us.
So you guarantee us security?
Yes. If you have a problem before the problem... You see, we don't want to see anybody lose his life. We don't want to see anybody harmed. We don't want to see anybody tortured. All right? So,
if I may,
yes,
if I may,
Secretary.
if I may, my name is Odada. I'm the Academic Affairs Secretary.
Yes.
Sir, whatever is happening in Jkuat, I don't know whether you really get the intensity.
Yes.
People are mugged even as early as 4 p.m. in the evening.
Yes.
During our days, you could not mug us. Why are you people lazy? What's happening?
So you mean...
Why are these people
Let
mugging
me
you?
explain this. Let
Why
me
are these
explain
people
this.
mugging
The police
you?
The
can't deal with
entire
drug
Juja
barons.
community.
No, it's okay.
The entire Juja community depends on Jkuat. And
Exactly.
what happens
It's okay.
is
That's-
the police officers on whose behalf you speak
Yes.
are the very people who walk alongside, go to the very
It's
wrong
okay.
places, go to clubs,
I'd passed
pick
my
bribes.
excuse me. I'd passed my apologies, and I've said we are going to take action. And all the same, I was simply joking. You don't need to take. You don't need to take take action into your own hands and do wrong things. It's our responsibility to protect you and to protect the community. But I've said I would want to see more of student leaders coming to us before these things go to that level. Let us agree. No, you've never come to my... You know, I've sat in this office for 12 years. I've never seen anybody from Jkuat. I've only seen people from university. And that's why I've said that please, what I've said is that please continue coming to us. Let us not wait for problems to arise, like the problem we had yesterday.
Sir, you have a representative, the OCPD.
Yes.
We met her on Saturday
Yes.
for 4 hours.
Yes.
30 minutes after we met her,
Yes.
students, 3 ladies,
Were
were
mugged.
attacked, mugged, and all their phones and electronics were taken away. What more do you want us to do?
It's okay. We have agreed on that. You have already brought your petition. Kwanza, where is the petition?
The petition is
And I can, no,
Yes, read it, no.
You have, no, give it to the media.
We would like to read it.
You see, let me tell you guys. My interest is that I've already come. I'm supposed to receive your petition. I hope you have a copy. Give it to the media. You are guys who've gone to school. We don't need to take ourselves back, be very low. We have agreed on this, and let's not take a lot of time. Let me take the petition. Let me give it to the Inspector General for action. And I can assure you, we've done something at least. So let us work as a team. Let us also not make mistakes like other persons have made. I agree. I've listened to your complaints. The only problem, I don't see gender in the leadership.
We are here. I'm here.
And I don't see tribal balance.
She's
How do you know what tribe? How do you know what tribe?
So what I'm saying, now I can get from the names. So
I'm a Chinese.
all right.
For the sake of filing this report, can I get the names of the policemen?
No, I don't have the names with me. They're in my office.
We know.
I've already, excuse me, I don't have the names with me. What I've told you is that they have been identified. If you cannot trust me and I give you security every day, who can you trust? Yeah? Trust on what I have said. Yeah, you know, God sometimes can be seen in our images, isn't it?
Okay,
Yes.
spokesperson, before you end, I have a request as a student leader of Jkuat.
Yes.
There's a clip going around of a young man in an orange overall. We would want you to use the mechanisms you use to identify those police officers,
Yes.
to identify that particular person who stabbed around 2 students in broad daylight yesterday in the watch of the policemen. It was yesterday. So there is in the watch of the police, and we are very angry that the police, instead of arresting him, they were busy chasing students and beating people and maiming them.
It's okay. What I want us to do is we are going to have more meetings because we also need a lot of civic education so that as student leaders you can always talk to your colleagues so that when you have a problem you also don't need to inconvenience other persons, because it's also possible that sometimes, for example, when we are in a group, like policemen, you remember there were policemen who were beating this particular individual, and yet there were also others who did not do the same. So even within the university fraternity, you may also find a few students whom, when we have problems like demonstrations, picketing, presenting petitions, they end up doing things which are not appropriate, that may annoy a third party. So we need to work in collaboration as a team, both university students and us, so that we ensure that those within us who are not good are also dealt with appropriately. Because in a society where people live, I can assure you, there may also be other students who may also be inconveniencing the locals in one way or another. So we should avoid conflict. We should avoid conflict, and we should ensure that we work together as a team. And that is why I'm saying that we must continue meeting and discussing some of these things so that we mitigate problems that may arise. We don't want any of you to lose. You are so young. If you lose your life today, we lose a lot, isn't it? So we don't want those kind of...
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
The last time they were
if those policemen would not have been arrested within those 24 hours, us as comrades are going to mobilize throughout the country. We are going to make sure that this country is going to be impassable. We are going to make Nairobi impassable. So tell Matiang'i, stick to your 24 hours, else this country is going to be impassable. Number two, we want to say that in this country, students demonstrating as well as the student leaders, whenever they demonstrate, they have always been kicked out of school. The rate of suspension of students have been so high. We want to give a warning to other vice chancellors and other universities that if they don't desist from this habit, we are going to mobilize comrades and are going to make this country impossible.
We are here as the university's leaders to condemn what happened here at Jkuat yesterday. We are not seeking for sympathy or kindness from these police officers who think that our lives are no longer important. Lives of comrades are important. It is our constitutional right to express ourselves whenever we need to express ourselves, and we ask them to protect us whenever we want to express ourselves. For the longest time, the comrades from Jkuat have called on to these policemen to provide security. They can only show up when we are on the streets. We are asking them to do their jobs. If they are unable to do their jobs, let them all of them go home. We are tired of seeing comrades being beaten up. Our lives are important. We are tired of always going and saying that we need help, and we are saying that enough is enough.
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 Enough is enough. We will not accept that comrades are stomped over by policemen. We want to say that whatever Matiang'i has promised Kenyans, he should do within the next 24 hours, or this Jkuat campus is going to be a no-go zone. And they are not only going to be alone as Jkuat, but we are going to mobilize all comrades all across the country to support each other. Comrades power! Comrades rear! They have for the longest time gone to the policemen seeking for help, saying that they're being harassed, their women are being raped, there are things which are being stolen, but they've not gotten any help. And that's why we're saying, why are the policemen not doing their jobs, and they can only come and do what they purport to be their job, and that is beating us when we come to the streets when they do not help us. So, as comrades, we have always said that we will look for amicable ways to solve solutions, therefore solve problems. Therefore, whenever they've gone to the policemen and the policemen have not helped them, that's why they resorted to go to the streets.
It's unfortunate if those clips actually are a true testimony of what transpired here yesterday. Of course, his office is particularly very concerned that such would happen from officers who are properly trained and they know what their responsibilities are. The IG is aware as his officers conduct their work. They actually have the powers to use force, if need be, in the protection of life and property. In yesterday's particular incident, officers, I'm informed, were responding to a situation whereby there was need to protect life and property. However, in the course of trying to quell the demonstrations, which had turned rioters, we believe a few officers may have been a bit overzealous, and used excessive force against some victims. Behind the scenes, for your information, there has been a lot of communication between the police and the university itself. They have been communicating and drawing structures. This incident happened as an incident that was unpremeditated. I can assure you that appropriate disciplinary action is going to be taken, because the police have their own mechanisms of dealing with errant police officers. That one, rest assured, hatua itachukuliwa bila shaka.
In today's fracas, 4 of our officers were injured, 2 motor vehicles were maliciously damaged, also some adjacent buildings were damaged, and I want to appreciate the good work done by the police. Despite all this running up and down and this monkey business with the students, our officers were able to restrain them. Imagine they had the firearms. So there is no injury reported, and I want to credit the police on how they have handled the situation generally. There is only one student who was alleged to have been assaulted, and he was assaulted by the public, the angry members of public, in a mob. They cornered him and they injured him, and I understand he's in hospital. Otherwise, our officers have restrained themselves, acted with a lot of caution, and there is no injury inflicted by a police officer. However, if there are incidents which are reported, we will not hesitate to subject them to scrutiny and investigations, and the findings and recommendations will be in the public domain as soon as possible. We have put strategies and mechanisms to counter the drug dealers. We are not going to relent. I can't assure them, whether they incite the students or not, we are not going to relent on a war against the drugs and illicit brews and the psychotropic substances. Still, we will be manning the gate. We shall try to closely monitor all activities that are taking place in all our learning institutions, and we are not going to relent the war on illicit drugs and psychotropic substances. Students who have been arrested they have been investigated, and I asked the parents are here. We are giving them P52. We are compelling their attendance, not a free bond. We are giving them a free bond, not a bond, cash bond, so that they can be investigated. There is nowhere they will go. They are students within the Jkuat University, people whom we can reach them anytime we want. Therefore, there is no need of putting them in custody. We are releasing them forthwith, but they are still under investigation. They are still under investigation. Lastly, I want to assure the students that issues of security will be enhanced. We will try our best to provide security for them within and outside the hostels. But please, my request to the student body is that let them not be used by the drug peddlers who want to spoil their life. Some of the grievances of the students is that they talked of a rampant insecurity within Juja area, and they say they have been robbed and snatched laptops, and they reported incidents of insecurity. However, according to the records, our police records, we have not had any incident of insecurity within Juja in the recent past. There was only one incident involving a student known as Shaila, who was murdered in a local pub within Juja. This student was a student from Kenyatta University. 5 suspects are in custody in relation to that murder. That's the only isolated incidents that we had involving the students of universities within Juja and its environment. The truth of the matter is that following our rapid results initiatives, 100 days rapid results initiatives, we have made some strategies to cover all the gates of the university so that the drug peddlers and the parents do not access the university to sell these drugs and the psychotropic substances to our students. That's a factor that has contributed to today's strike. The second issue which contributed to today's strike is that other public universities have been closed down and they were in holiday, while Jomo Kenyatta University was still in session. This has brought some disaffection among the students who wanted to break for their holidays. And this is the second reason why the university students went on a strike. Thirdly, the third reason is that there is the official body, University Students, Jkuat Students Association. It is called Jakuza. Since they have been mandated and given elected, there is no strike that has taken place within university. Therefore, they have been discredited and rebuked by the students, general students, saying that they have not been articulating issues affecting the students. Therefore, the officials were under pressure, and that's why they organized the strike. Otherwise, we do not see any insecurity within Juja. It has been there in the past of 3-4 months ago, but currently the security situation is stable, and we have not had any serious incidents which can tantamount to today's strike. What happened is that there is a wing or a section within the Kenya Police, the National Police, under the administration police called as SIPO. They have been deployed in the gates to monitor issue of drugs and insecurity that affects the university. And the drug barons could not access the university to peddle the drugs. Therefore, they started to sponsor strikes and to incite the students to go on strikes, to agitate for the removal of the police, the deployment of the police from the gates, the main gates.